live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. It's life in football. We are life in football.
You are now listening to the Life in Football podcast. Check out the new website, lifeinfootball.com.
Welcome to the Life in Football podcast, baby. I'm your host, Mike Feed.
And this your coach, Colin Moore. You know we loving life and enjoying football.
Top-notch coaches all around the world. Top-notch coaches all around the world. Today we got Coach Anthony Troutman on for them Bartow Yellow Jackets, baby. And, hey, this so special because this was Seymour played his high school ball at back in the day. This way he did his thing. I got to see him live in person last year, actually, at homecoming. They did their thing. Coach Troutman, he the defense coordinator. He got some young dogs out there. He got some young ballers out there. Coach doing a great job. The head coach doing a great job. Uniform fly. But we finna get further into Coach Troutman's story. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and let Seymour bring him on.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, doing great today. Outstanding.
Hey, it's good to have another Yellow Jacket in the building today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bartow Yellow Jackets is a great place to be a part of right now.
It is. Coach, I always ask, because it's just on my mind, about how do you actually, when and how did you know you wanted to coach? Because as a player, when I played, coaching was nowhere close to my mind. And as I get older, it still ain't. Like, I don't want to coach, but I love football a lot. So
Right.
where did you get in there?
Well, it's just for one, it is an enjoyment for the game of football. But the story starts a while back. You know, when I was a young kid, I had an uncle named Uncle James. You know, he always took us to football games. We grew up going to a lot of Lakeland High School senior football games.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the 1986 season. I still remember as a kindergarten. We was in kindergarten. Going through to all the games, all the home games. We were there. We lived not far from the stadium over there off Memorial Boulevard behind the fish market. So we would walk to the games with our uncle. So we grew up around just seeing football a lot in that way. Then we had a cousin of mine who played ball up at Duke, who went to Kathleen High School actually. For like 1 year he was down here in the 70s. He was with my uncle his dad, Uncle Arthur. They stayed here for like a year or two, and he went to Kathleen for that season. So those guys hit their sons, my uncles. They just had us around the games or whatnot. So we just saw the game a lot. So we just came to naturally let's enjoy football and want to play football and be around the game. Fast forward, you know, we get up into high school, you know, playing high school football, went to George Jenkins High School, and the principal at the time, David Lauer, he came to me one day and said, "Hey, you ever thought about when you get out of college or whatnot, you're going to go to college, right?" I said, yeah, I'll probably go to college, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't really know exactly what I wanted to do at the time. I always know, though, I want to do something dealing with people.
Right.
You know, I say I was going to be a radio host. I was going to be a fireman, you know, some things like that. Those kind of things I kept throwing out at the same time. I didn't see myself necessarily being just a straight suit and tie guy, even though I wear suit and tie, you know, teaching school sometimes I wear those things. But just in that pure manner, I didn't see myself in those kind of ways. But him bringing that up, what about you coming back and being a teacher and a coach? I ain't thinking about that in that way, but it was guys like Coach Cobb when I was in high school that made a lasting impression on your heart and in your mind.
Right.
Guys like Coach Gary Meyer, even though I didn't play for him, you know, he's just seeing him with the basketball team, you know, just seeing how he did things and some of the things he said. One of the phrases I used to use all the time when I first started coaching came from Gary Meyer, and I just was on the outside looking in on that situation. My brother played basketball, but those kind of interactions that you have, and then those growing ups that you have, and then when I started going through school and my brother started getting into coaching like youth girls basketball, he would always say, "Hey, won't you come out and just help me out?" So I just come over there, help out a little bit, do this, do that, you know. So it's just those little paths you just kind of went on, and then when you get up to the point where you start working over at Kathleen High School back in 2004, it was it was one particular day, you know, I would just go down to the weight room out of school, just hang around, be around the weight room, just go in there, lift weights. I wasn't necessarily coach my very first year there.
Right.
You know, Coach Tate actually was on his way out as the head coach, and the new guy was coming in. But they'll just see me in there, you know. So the new guy that came in, he came up to me one day. He said, "Hey, I see you around campus. The guys seem to like to respect you a lot. Hey, why don't you come out here and just be a JV head coach for me?"
Yeah.
So JV head coach. You know, at the time, I always had this thing about, because I left the game of football in college. I had this deal in my mind, like, man, I shouldn't be worthy to coach at the high school level, since I stopped playing ball at the college level. You know, I didn't give it all the way through my full attention. You know, so long story short, like I said, I took that assignment as a JV head coach at Kathleen, and it just went from there. You know.
Now, Coach, what's crazy is somebody saw you in high school and said, "Hey, you got that coaching ability in you." Then on top of that, I didn't know your worlds collided with Coach Tate. So you been knowing Coach Tate for a minute. So I guess that's the blessing of how you end up at Bartow High School now.
Yeah. We see, that was the other thing. You know, me and Coach Tate, we never coached together. You know, but when I left George Jenkins and graduated, I came back during that summer before I left to go off to school or whatnot. I'd go out there and lift weights in the afternoon. I was working a custodian job with summer school, so I worked during the summer school day. Me and another young man, my buddy Isaac, we'll work together. Then next thing you know, after school was over with, summer school, we get off the clock. We'll go in the weight room. And Coach Tate was coming into George Jenkins that season, to be the defensive coordinator for our head coach at the time, Coach Jameson. You know, so I knew Coach Tate, because we'll go over, when I was in school, we'll go to Kathleen for weightlifting meets, and I see him. He'll be in there, saying some of the same stuff he said.
Yeah.
You know, get hype, and all that kind of stuff. You know, so then when he came over to Jenkins, you know, I didn't play for him, but I just missed him.
Right.
You know, I left, he came in. You know, so then fast forward, we get in the schooling. I so happened to be able to get in at Kathleen. Matter of fact, the same guy, David Lauer, coaching Mr. Lauer, the principal at the time. I saw him in the summertime. "Hey, what you doing with yourself? I'm about to finish up school at USF. Hey, I pull out for George Jenkins to be on the campus over there, but I haven't heard back. I was a para at the time. I was trying to get in as a para.
Right.
You know, so he said, "Hey, won't you apply at Kathleen? They got a position open, brand new principal. May work well for you." So I went over there to applied at Kathleen, got the position there. You know, and then Coach Tate, like you say, he was his last season. I didn't know it was going to be his last season, but when I started, after that season was over with, I come around the weight room, but then we found out he's going to transition over to Red, so I had just missed him then.
Yeah.
You know, so just all these little instances, and we had these paths cross, but we'll just miss. And then this last time, things didn't go well at the end for me at Kathleen. You know, I thought I was going to retire there after I took over as the head coach, but God saw something different. That's the way I look at the story at this point now. You know, and I got removed from that position there at Kathleen, and the next thing you know, one of the first two people to reach out to me was Coach Tate. "Hey, why don't you come over and work over here at Bartow with us?" Right. And at first, I was kind of like, I don't know. I got up. I would say I was just going to sit back and see who all wanted me to come there, because at that point, I was kind of distraught a little bit, like, man, I gave it all I could. I had, but it ain't work out. But at the same time, let me look who maybe want to reach out and let me be a part of the program. So it was like 6 schools reached out and just decided to go with Coach Tate. Just wanted to work with experienced head coach, and maybe I even learn some things. Who knows? Learn some things from him that I may not have learned if I hadn't gotten that shot, you know, that opportunity. So that's what I look at as learn the opportunity and time to grow, instead of sitting there soaking about what you didn't do and what could have been. Just look at this as another reason, another way to catapult and learn and continue to grow.
Right.
Now, Coach, I heard you talking about Coach Cobb and Coach G. These was people you looked at who inspired you, their coaching methods and tactics. I want to know, who inspired you growing up, like in your family? How was it for you growing up? And just break it down to the people, like where you from, about your family, and who were some of the people who poured into you?
Oh yeah. Just great question. You know, a lot of people poured into you just growing up. I'm from Lakeland. You know, I say I'm from Lakeland, but I also say I'm from Polk County. You know, so You see me come in with the hat on, got the Florida orange hat on there, because that's just my roots of being a part of Polk County. And, I just love the fact that this is part of our history here. This part of what it is that we're about as well. So those things right there just stick to you. So just growing up, like I said, my uncles, they were big influence in my life. I had my dad around. Even though he didn't live in the household with us, he always was consistent as far as being present, as far as being able to provide for us the things that we needed, whether it be anything for school clothing, things like that. But my mom, she was the one that was there on a day-to-day basis with us. Just seeing her just be tough. Being able to just go out there and continue to work for her children. Do the best that she can. Being a single mom in that house with her, like I say, my dad was around. She was the one that was there with us on a day-to-day basis, every single day. So just seeing her grow, seeing her want to push through things with arthritis. Sometimes leaving, like you said, that neighborhood right behind Lake Wire, right out there, and walking down to the city of Lakeland. If the car was messed up,
Right.
we went to John Cox Elementary. So sometimes she'll walk with us. Maybe on them days she couldn't drive. And then she just keep on walking up Memorial Boulevard down to the city of Lakeland, in that little office that she worked. So seeing those things, seeing your mom just continue to be tough about those things and be encouraged in those ways. Seeing your dad continue to be consistently present, seeing your uncles and how they just influence you in other ways, like we say it in sport, And some people just say, hey, why do you carry yourself the way you do? We around a lot of older people. Growing up. So me and my brother, we like the youngest of all of our siblings. We
Right.
got 5 of us all together. We're 10 years behind the next oldest. So everybody that was around us was a lot older. So sitting down, hearing those stories being told by our uncles, sitting on the front porch, and they tell us this store and that store. So that's why I probably get that idea of just sitting around talking and telling stories sometimes, because I just was around that a lot just growing up. So those kind of people right there in your lives, it really made a lasting impact on just who you are as a person. So different things like that. Growing up in the church, even though necessarily that don't mean that means you just got it all together, but those things that you just were around. So people that you met in those ways. I had 2 cousins of mine that we call them our cousins, named Marcus and Joe Wilson. And those guys were like our big brothers that we went to that when it's time to play ball, that's who we playing ball with.
Right.
That's who roughing us up and all this kind of stuff, or trying to show us the juke move and all those kind of things like that. So it's just a collection of people in that way. Like I said, your older sisters and your uncles and your mom and your dad, those cousins that's come along in your life that make some type of impression as far as who you are, and just start shaping you as a person in a sense, really.
Now, Coach, this is my last question. Talk about the preparation it takes being a coach and having a family at the same time.
Yeah, that's something that takes a lot of balance. In those kind of ways, you see yourself. You want to pour so much into the coaching side that you don't pour anything into your own children. So it's a real balance that you got to have, because you got to respect the fact that people are counting on you to be able to lead them in the sport. But at the same time, your most important ministry, your most important thing that you're going to have is the work that you do in those 4 or 5 walls. However your house may be shaped. You say 4 walls, but it could be 6, 7 walls.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so we got to make sure the balance becomes, let me prioritize in the sense of, I want to make sure that I'm present for my wife. I want to make sure that I'm present for my children, being involved with their lives the best I can. But at the same time, make sure I cut the time out that I need to cut out to be able to prepare. So I'm an early morning riser, so I'm either early morning, sometimes a late nighter, because I got to give that time of preparation. I may sneak sometimes during the day, but a lot of time I'm up 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm up on the computer. I'm looking at that film. I'm being prepared for that practice or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Some people don't understand why I do that. That's why I do it. The biggest reason I do it is because that's the time where everybody else is kind of asleep. So let me make this effort to get up earlier to make sure I'm up and getting prepared for those things I need to prepare for that football as well. So that's the way I balance it out. Some people may do it different, but I get up early in the morning, and I'm up looking at some type of film, looking at some video, is writing some things down, getting prepared, like we said, and ready to go. So that's the balance that I try and keep as far as doing those things, but also making those times where I can say, okay, during the day I can get this time out, but early in the morning I gotta really be able to get that time in so I can be able to prepare and be ready to go.
Yes, sir. Y'all heard it right here, man. That was Coach Anthony Troutman, coaching for them Bartow Yellow Jackets down here in that great sunshine state of Florida. Hey, he done did it as a player. He doing it now as a coach, and he continued to inspire. And even when they wife on his back, them like, hey, come here. Hey, come watch the TV with me. He gonna put that time in too.
Yes, sir.
And that's real important, coach, because a lot of time we do so much other things that the family gets secondary sometimes.
Right.
But that's what I try my best to do. Always like, no, I know what I need to be doing.
Right.
Because all of us actually do know.
Right.
But sometimes you kind of disregard it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got to give a shout out for Coach for doing that and being a father, a husband, and a coach at the same time. That means a lot. And we need more people like that in this world. And I'm going to leave y'all how I always leave y'all. Keep your head up and not down, or else you'll fall to the ground. This is the Life in Football Podcast. Catch you next time.